evening all, it's Monday night again and welcome to the Tilton Talk Show sponsored by Small Affordable Cars. We've had 3 red cards tonight and we've got 3 of us on a yellow, so we've got a bit of a depleted squad tonight. So we'll start off on Paul Hipkiss and we're joined tonight by Mark Adams.
Good evening everybody.
Mark Meredith.
Good evening all.
And the one and only Chris Browne.
Good evening, and I believe we've got a latecomer to the show.
German's coming.
And just in time for kick-off is Alan Watton, who hopefully will be with us any second now.
Yeah. Putting us
just at the start of the show. Evening, Alan.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
All right, are you?
Yeah, just about. Got a lot of bad news on my plate, but who cares?
Oh, crikey. Let's bring the show.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the show. I want to start off by obviously wishing the Rotherham fan that had a heart attack, sadly, at the New York Stadium on Saturday, a speedy recovery. I believe it was an elderly gentleman called Sid, and it was myself. I was there with my daughter, and it was my daughter's first away game, so it was a horrible thing for us to witness. But I'm relieved to hear that he's stable and he's breathing on his own, and hopefully he can make a full recovery. But yeah, really horrible to see that, and I think it put not that it really mattered, to be honest, after, but it probably had I think it might have even had an effect on the players, to be honest, as well, because we just didn't really get going, and especially first half, we just didn't really offer much. I think Keshi Anderson had the one good shot, one-on-one with the keeper, and Tyler Roberts had that volley at the angle, didn't he? He should have done better with in the first half, and then he takes Oliver Burkhardt, who I hope we never see in a blue shirt ever again, because, if he's got the audacity to put the blue shirt on and turn up like that, for me, it's just a epitome of where we are at the moment, and it's why we are where we are, and I'm not blaming it all on Oliver Burke, but I just think the mentality of some of these players, some of them couldn't give a damn if we stay up or go down, and I think their body language shows that. And for me, Oliver Burke has probably been one of the worst players I've ever seen in a blue shirt, and you're in a relegation dogfight and you're going off and doing stuff like that with your missus on TikTok, and then you're turning up and putting the shirt on and performing like that. You know what I mean? I just don't accept that at all. But second half, he brought Miyoshi on anyway, and I thought Miyoshi made a big difference. We were a much more attacking threat. We were quick at getting up the field, and we looked more like scoring. And obviously Stansfield scores, and I thought that was. To be honest, that was going to be us. We were going to nick the goal, and then when we did, Buchanan's right in front of their keeper, and blocking his view. So it was a shame, but it is what it is, and we are where we are. And Sheffield Wednesday winning yesterday has obviously put us back down there. So we've got to do it the hard way this time, and we've got to roll our sleeves up and go out there now in these last 2 games and get 6 points. There's nothing short of 6 points we need now to guarantee survival, or even that doesn't guarantee survival. But I'll stop waffling now. Anyway, Mark Adams, give us your thoughts.
Well, like I say, I'm just gutted that it's come to this. I'm not going to throw in the towel just yet. I think more and more people, especially on social media, are just sort of throwing in the towel now. But I'm still clinging beyond hope that we're going to be okay. Like I say, going back to the Bolton game a few years back, after watching that, then anything can happen. I'm just worried that we just seem to. Was the Coventry game just a flash in the pan? Are we going back to not scoring? Not looking like scoring. I'm worried about the lack of fight as well. There's no plan B at this stage in the season. There doesn't seem to be a plan B. There doesn't seem to be a manager bounce either. Gary coming back in, I thought there'd be a bit of a bounce, but by and large, has that happened?
I think for me, Mark, it's the mentality of the players. He's massive.
Yeah.
We've had 6 managers this season, and it's not made any difference. Mowbray obviously had a decent-ish start, and the little time he was with us, it was only really Sheffield Wednesday under him away where we were shambolic. Mm-hmm. But the players as well have to take most of the flack for this, in my opinion, now. And when your captain's going out drink driving and getting charged for drinking and driving, that just kind of epitomises why we are where we are as well. Because if our leader's going and doing that, he's supposed to set an example on the rest of the players. And if he's the captain and he's going out and doing that, then what sort of
chance we got?
What example does that set to the rest of the squad?
That's just there's no other word. It's brainless. I mean, it's disgusting. I'm lost for words. I mean, that just caps off a miserable, what could be a potentially disastrous season. Yeah. I mean, there's no excuse for that.
Alan, give us your thoughts on
I agree with everything you said about the players and so on. So I just say one thing about the disallowed goal. I've watched it from about 5 different angles now, and when the shot was made, Mr. Buchanan was not in front of the goalkeeper. He was leaping out the way. Now that can still be interpreted as putting the goalkeeper off, but. I go back. I can remember. Do you remember the game when we won 5-1 at Newcastle?
Yeah, I do.
And early in the game, Gary McSheffrey scored, and Campbell was standing next to the goalkeeper on the line. So the goalkeeper couldn't go to his right. Well, put it in the left-hand side, and the BBC, well, surely he's interfering, blah, 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 but the goal was given. Now, the ball didn't go towards Buchanan; he went the other side. Now, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, it was a poor bit of officiating. That flag should have gone up. He should have called the referee over and said the guy was in an offside position, but from my position, I can't tell whether he's interfering with the goalkeeper or not. Can you, Mr. Referee? And if the referee said, yes, you're absolutely right, he was interfering, fine. But that didn't happen. They took the linesman's word as gospel. And it would have, if it had had a bit of discussion about it and can come to the conclusion it should be disallowed, that's fair enough. But they didn't do that. They just galloped. There was no way that referee was going to question his linesman and say, well, look, mate, I got a better view than you. And when he shot, he wasn't in front of the keeper, and come to a different conclusion. But that's officiating. That's officiating. What's the word I need? It's the way it should be done. Now, if we had VAR, VAR might have decided that when he shot, he was in his eye line. But from what I saw, he wasn't. He was leaping. In fact, he leapt out the way, and by the time the ball hit the net, he still hadn't landed. And it's how can I put it? If there's any luck to be had for us, it's bad luck. Yeah. That could have easily been allowed, and it wasn't. But that's an excuse. That's no excuse. We got the ball in the net once in. How long did the game last in the end? About 150 minutes. I didn't see it because my feed switched off at 5 to 5, and the game didn't finish till 25 to 6. So I didn't see much of the second half, to be honest. And incidentally, I think you're right about the effect on the players. The chance that Roberts missed was before. They had a bright start. And looked apart. And had he put that away, then the gap wouldn't have mattered so much. But we were on the front foot, and suddenly we're off the pitch. And I do think it had a big effect on our team, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. They should be like chomping at. Let's get out there and give it to them. Yeah. But they didn't. They and all the bloody warming up they did. You don't need that. Kick a few balls and get off of it. There was nearly another 20 minutes warming up. And the poor gentleman that was on his way to the hospital had been gone out the stadium 10, 15 minutes.
Oops.
Hello.
What's going on there?
It's
fellow. Has he been on the
so anyone tuning in tonight to see David Davis, he at the moment he's away with family, and he'll be here next week with us. So David Davis is we basically think it's best for him to come on next week because
we don't want to do a show, do we? Really?
And his Wi-Fi, he was happy to join us, but his Wi-Fi was a bit touch and go where it is. So I just said, leave it till next week, and we'll come on when he's when he's at home in his own full-on Wi-Fi, so we can have a better chat with him rather than him breaking up every few minutes.
We've done it before, haven't we, Paul? And it has spoiled the show where we've got bad Wi-Fi, so best to have him on when it's...
exactly. We've had dodgy sound, we've had bad Wi-Fi, we've had people sounding like Mike Tyson and everything. So it's
Mike
been a
Tyson.
disaster. So Mark Meredith, you're the manager of Blues now, and you just found out this about Dion Sanderson. What are you going to do?
Well, firstly, I think he did the right thing of taking the captaincy off him straight away. I also think that I think if Roberts was fully fit, he may have removed him from the team as well, honestly. But for me, I think that's the only thing you can do now, especially with it coming out in the press now with the court case and everything else. I think you need to take him out of the team and stick somebody else in there. I think we maybe got to Saturday where he was a bit unsure about Roberts and Sanderson was only the real centre back. And again, that doesn't make it right, but obviously we've got to try and get a result. But yeah, for me, if I'm the coach, he don't play again this year.
No, okay. Does he play ever again?
That's a difficult one to say, isn't it? You'd have to speak to them again in the summer and see. But for me, as a fan, no, I don't want to see him. Certainly don't want to see him as the captain of the club ever again, which I don't think he will be. And I wouldn't be fussed right now if he didn't put a blue shirt on again, in all honesty.
See, his performances in the last two games, we have the one positive is we have, kept 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, and his performances have actually got a little bit better, but
I think, I think that's a lot to do with the change that he made with Bielik. I think him and Sanderson and Ayew got a little bit sour together, made a few mistakes, confidence went down. That was one thing I was going to say about the game is the positive of having, 2 clean sheets and seeing Bielik go in there and make a difference. Like, I watch it and I love the way Bielik steps out into midfield and tries to create a little bit in there. I think it was him that made... Maloshi's chance just at the end, which I think Maloshi probably could have done a little bit better with in the 93rd, 4th minute, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So Bielik's been a big shining point for it. And in all honesty, after Saturday's game, and I know I came onto our chat, and I was quite positive that 4 points out of 2 games. Yes, we should be beating Rotherham. Totally agree with that. I think we need to be stronger than the teams that have already been relegated. But I would say, I'll take 4 points because I was shocked the week before that we battered Coventry. So we'd have taken 4 points anyway between those 2 games. But then obviously Sheffield Wednesday winning 24 hours later just put a dampener on it now and give us everything to do again. But I think we set up... He made a mistake with Burke. I really do believe that.
Massively.
But I think we set up with a fear to lose, didn't we?
Yeah, you don't change a winning team, do you? When you win a game, got a week's rest in between the games. It's more understandable if you've got a game like 2 or 3 days later. But if you've got 3 games in a week, then maybe make a couple of changes. But when you've got a week's rest in between games, you don't change the team, do you? If you win 3-0, surely.
100% as a coach. I think as a coach that answers your question. You've just won 3-0 at home against a pretty good playoff contending team. We've seen Coventry yesterday in the FA Cup final as well. And then you got a week off of training, and then you go into the next week. 11 should be named for you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he made that change. It also, I thought, and again, I'm with you in regards to the stoppage being a problem for the players. But I also thought we played with a little bit of fear of losing the game and not too much confidence of winning it. And the problem is, what I hated to see is 48 hours before, everyone's talking about, Steve Evans has come in and Rotherham's got a new manager and they got this bounce and stuff. Regardless of that, the team's relegated. And a team like us in the position we're in have got to go out there and be stronger anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had that. I think we had that fear of not getting a point and holding on to that. And like I say, the benefit of the bonus of having a clean sheet again. But we pretty much, apart from the Stansfield one, pretty much probably wouldn't have scored if we'd have played until Monday,
No, not at all. No. I want to give a big shout out as well to Accessi Blues. I travelled there and back on Saturday to Rotherham with them, with my daughter, and Steve Portman does a brilliant job, doesn't he? And he puts it all on for everyone, and it's absolutely brilliant setup. And what I absolutely loved as well was 20 minutes before we were getting to the stadium, he starts putting on all the classic blues songs and some that we haven't heard for a long time, like Eiffel 65 Blue and It was Eiffel 65, wasn't it? Blue, was it? Is that right?
Yeah.
And obviously singing the blues, Tom Ross and Ian Dancer and all that. You know, he had a great compilation going on the coach of some classics, which I think need to be brought back at St Andrews.
Yeah.
But at the moment, that's the least of our worries. So,
my worry, Paul. Sorry, Paul. My worry is we get to that Norwich game with a chance of staying up, and we just completely freeze. If we freeze at Rotherham, what are we going to be like on the last day?
I think our home form is what's giving us a chance of staying up. If it was purely down to our away form, we'd have been relegated probably in about, the middle of February, wouldn't we? It's been that bad. But, it's our home form that's given us a fighting chance. But at the end of the day, they've got to bury this hatchet on Saturday at Huddersfield and go out there and just blitz them, like Swansea did.
Yeah. My worry as well is that Norwich. I want Norwich in the playoffs by the time they play us, but they're dropping points, and that's a bit of a worry. So I want it to be a dead rubber for Norwich, but no, it's not heading that way, is it?
I think at this stage, though, Mark, it's going to be a sellout, which is great. I read that today. Mm-hmm. If we need to win to stay up, then that's what we got to do. I believe that this team on their day, if they play like they do against Coventry, can give anybody a game in this league.
Yeah,
we've got to go out at a stage where, it's going to all depend on next week, isn't it? If Sheffield Wednesday win against the Albion next week, then they're going to be almost favourites to stay up with the momentum they've got going into the last game. Sunderland's not really going to be playing for much at their place. So I think we've got to really just better Sheffield Wednesday's result next week, so that at least we're out the bottom three going into the week after's game, and then just go and give it a shot in front of our own fans. I think that's what we can do now, and we're in this position because over the season we probably deserve to be, don't we? So only us now as a team that can get it out of it. So.
Yeah, we're there on merit, aren't we, at the end of the day? The league table doesn't lie. After 44 games, we are the third worst team in the league at the moment. But we need to make that the fourth worst team or the fifth worst team, you know what I mean? And we need to do that in 2 games. And I would seriously consider, playing 2 up front now. I know he's had Roberts just behind Stansfield, but I'd consider maybe even bringing Hogan back in and putting Stansfield behind him. Maybe try that, or... I don't know. We're so depleted for options, aren't we? And in hindsight,
I think you said it. Sorry, Paul. I think you said the other week. Even people might laugh, but even for a bit of hype, put Gary Gardner up there.
Yeah. We need that physical presence.
Yeah. I think it's a good shout. Yeah.
We're hoping to be joined by Claire and Craig as well at some point during the show as well. I'm hoping they'll jump on and join us from where they are. But sorry, Alan, you go.
I'm just saying. The truth of the matter is we could win both our games and still go down.
Yeah.
That's the situation we've got ourselves into.
Yeah.
And that is... I must have looked at the fixtures 50 times since 6 o'clock on Saturday, and who's playing who and what, and I still can't remember. I still got to look it up. And I can't see us winning those 2 games. I can see us getting 4 points. That would take us to 50 points, would it not?
Yeah.
And we all said 50 points would keep us up.
Oh, no.
Might not.
No.
Might not. 52 might not keep us up. Somebody has got to sink. Plymouth are in a bit of a dodgy spell. Blackburn are in a dodgy spell. I think we've got to stop worrying about Sheffield Wednesday. Assume that they are going to be above us and catch the other 2. That's what we've got to think. Otherwise, it's just too depressing. We're blaming the players, and I don't disagree with that. But if you start saying, people start thinking, well, Sheffield Wednesday aren't going to lose another game. That's us out. We can't think like that. There are another 5 teams that can go down, and we got to catch. If we do win both our games, we are likely to pass 1 or even 2 of those teams, and it might not be Sheffield Wednesday. So I think there's, you can keep looking at this, and you just depress yourself, and don't let's pretend that the players are not thinking the same way. We can criticise them all we like, but they're under pressure that they've never been under before. They're not used to it. They show on the pitch they're not able to cope with the pressure. To be honest, they can't cope with it.
Yeah,
I don't think they played as though they were under pressure, though.
Pardon?
I don't think they played as though they were under pressure.
No, they played. They played with fear, didn't they? In as much as they were frightened to really give it a go. You know, why didn't we stick two strikers on from the start?
Yeah.
Mayashi one side and Anderson, who played very well the week before, and have let's get 3 goals in the first half. Not tippy tappy around and hope we're going to get a breakthrough.
Yeah. Do we think though, at some level, maybe the players were aware of what happened with the captain and it deflated them before the game?
Well, yeah. It shouldn't. It's a situation we certainly don't want.
They must have discussed something.
Where we've got a manager who's doing all right, thank you, is suddenly taken ill. We could do without that. Let's not pretend that hasn't affected the players, the fans, the situation at the club, etc., etc. It's a terrible thing to have happen. And we just look at the results since he stopped doing it. Okay, you might say, well, we should have stepped in and got a replacement quickly, but we didn't. We gave Mark Venus the reins, and he just couldn't cope. Mistake, and we are not where we are. We're not where we are because of Saturday. We're where we are because of the previous 25 Saturdays, where we didn't score against Rotherham. There's lots of teams we didn't score against. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
One goal against Rotherham back in whenever it was. We're safe now. You could think of all the, but you drive yourself nuts in the end. We've got 2 games to play. We need to win them both, really. And let's think not beyond that. We're quite capable of winning both games, but have we got it? Have we got it under our shirt, basically? If you're not going to beat us, you're not going to send us down. I'm taking nothing off this pitch, etc., etc., etc. Now, somebody's got to instill that into them, and I don't think it has.
Yeah. If it was up to me on Saturday, I would be looking at the players that care about the club. The players that have come from our academy, the likes of JJ and Gary Gardner and people like that who run through a brick wall for the club. You're putting Oliver Burke out there who couldn't give a shit about the club, pardon my language, but he couldn't.
That's three weeks on the trot. We've said shit.
He doesn't give a monkeys whether we stay up or go down.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but of all the people that he could have put in, and he shouldn't have put anybody in, he should have kept it before. Of all the people that he could have put in that position, Miyoshi, JJ, Gardner, etc., where and how did he come to the conclusion that Wayne Burke was the right bloke to put in?
Had nobody
it's
told
unbelievable.
him.
I can't believe that a man of his intelligence and experience came to that conclusion.
It's a strange one.
Yeah,
100%.
And George Hall as well. George Hall cares about the club as well. He's come from our academy. Get somebody out there. Get somebody out there that actually gives a damn if we stay up or go down. So sorry, Mark. Go on, Mark Meredith.
Saying, going back to the Burke one, I think the fact is Rowett and Robbo know Burke well from his Millwall days, regardless of how good he's done for us. I think they just believed that when he was back fit, he was going to have a go and have a try with a new manager. We sit here and go, that's the worst decision ever, which I still believe is. But I think they must have believed something to take over those spots in the on the pitch to put Burke in. But I think he soon realised at half time what mistake he'd made. I think he had to change that quickly. Fans on your back and things like that. But going back to the other one as well, we missed out massively in January getting a striker. We can argue about managers being in the club and who was in and who wasn't and stuff like that. But we didn't go for a striker in January. Juki's just got hurt, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we're stuck. You can't, Hogan hasn't been firing. Stansfield does everything he can, but it's not always good enough, every week, which I totally get. And there's nobody else really there that he can rely on.
And it's too late for. Sorry, Mark. I was going to say it's too late for Dixon because obviously he would have had a chance by now, surely.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can throw them kids in now.
Not now.
And if Paul's not ready, and if he doesn't think Bakuna's okay out there or JJ, then I'd rather see Drama come in at right back or Laird right back, and Drama, in the position that Burke was in, attacking right mid. Because at least Drama will put a bit of effort in and have a go, and you know what I mean. He can cross the ball as well. He's got a couple of good assists this season. Drama has, so put him out there. Put anybody out there apart from him. Basically,
Paul. Sorry, Paul. What when on Saturday at the final whistle, what was the? Could you gauge the reaction of everyone? What was everyone's kind of mood?
Yeah, I mean,
was it flat or? Yeah,
it wasn't horrendous. There was a few boos, but a lot of the players got clapped and stuff, and it wasn't horrendous. Because we need to get behind them. We're not down yet. Yeah. We need to get behind them and encourage them to keep us up because. We know how massive it is this time because if we can do it, then the future's so much brighter, isn't it? And I think that's why people are so much more stressed about it, including me. I don't know about you, but I've been waking up at 3:30 in the morning.
Can't sleep.
No.
Keep looking at the league table, keep trying to work out permutations.
It's just the not knowing, isn't it? And the uncertainty, and and when you've got people like that care about the club like we do. And then you've got people going out there like that representing us on a match day. It's just unacceptable. And I think Gary Rowett, recognised that, didn't he? And he did say that he made a mistake in his interview after, and he thought that Oliver Burke's height was going to make a difference. But that he obviously he hooked him at half time, and it was the right thing to do. He should have done it after 15 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah. So then we won't ever see him again, will we?
I hope not.
No. I don't think so.
I certainly hope not. It would be my worst all-time 11 on the right. Yeah.
I used to give poor what's his name?
Lecco.
From Charlton. Huh?
Lecco.
Yeah. I used to give him. I thought he was the worst ever, but I will say something about him. The difference between him and Burke is he used to try. He wasn't very good, but he didn't hide, and he was trying to do something. You go, oh dear, not that. But this, we were just waiting. As I say, my feed wasn't great, but there was one incident where somebody slipped the ball inside to him and went wide, and the fullback was standing still. That whoever had gone wide was open, and he passed it to the fullback. And I thought he was playing for them. He was that bad. Lecco was never that bad.
No.
Never.
Yeah. No. Well, Lecco's on the left in my worst ever 11, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
100% for that one.
Jack and Doyle would probably be in the middle as well with, I don't know. I don't really want to go through it now, but it'd be a bloody awful team, wouldn't it? But, it is what it is.
Forward, Ricky,
but I think for me now, he needs to, just look at getting the right personalities out there as well as ability. He's got to look at the mentality of the players and the ones that care the most about the club. That's what I'll be looking at now in these two games more than anything, because you're going to get everything. They'll die for the club and they'll go out there and just leave everything on the pitch. The likes of Gary Gardner and Jordan James and George Hall and people like that who have come through the academy or. Are Blues fans like Gary Gardner. I know obviously we signed Gary Gardner from them, but I'm just saying, he's a Blues fan, so let's get him out there. I mean, I like Paik Sung Ho. I think he's a good player, but I'm not sure if he's what we need at the moment. We need.
Talking about the three midfield players that we signed, Paik is a good player. The other two, certainly, they've done nothing. And you look and think, well, we signed three midfield players where we've probably got 8 or 9 to pick from at the time. Why couldn't we have put one striker and nobody else? Would that balance the budget? But who knows what the negotiation. We might have had our eye on somebody, and that they know we're in the soft and smelly, so they put the price up. Oh, if you want him, he's X, and he'll want 60 grand a week to play for you. Blah blah blah. And we said no, we can get three good midfield players for that. Who knows? But it's another decision that was made that hasn't really worked out. Nothing against either of the other two players, but they just haven't. One's been injured all the time. You buy a 30-year-old bloke, he gets injured, he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. You buy an 18-year-old who gets injured, he's back on. You get a wet sponge over him, he's back out in the pitch. It's horses for courses in the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
We get no. We try this, try that, try the other, and we don't see 6 managers, no improvement with any of them. Different players, no, very little change. Take Stansfield, that team. Who has been, an absolute gem. Can you imagine if we hadn't got him?
I know, yeah. I know he was limping about as well for most of the second half. He was playing with a knock. He took a knock at some point in the second half, and he was limping for a good half an hour.
Yeah.
But, we got any good comments or questions coming in, Chris?
Absolutely, thousands upon thousands.
What are people's thoughts on what are our viewers' thoughts on Dion Sanderson? Any sort of comments on that first?
Nothing really on Sanderson. If you want to just explain, there's a few people who joined late on YouTube. If you can just explain again what happened with Sanderson, that would put them straight, Paul.
Yeah, so Dion Sanderson has been charged with drinking and driving for the second time, I believe, Mark. You said, Adam?
Yes, he was done 2 years ago for Wolves, yeah.
I didn't know he was charged before. But yeah, so the second time our captain has been charged with drinking and driving, which is totally unacceptable for any captain of any team, never mind Birmingham City. It's
unacceptable for anybody, full stop.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no matter what you do or who you are.
There's a few people agreeing with you regarding Gardner as well, saying that 100% play Gardner.
Yeah. We need his driving midfield and his determination and his grit, and he can pop up with a goal as well. He's got a lovely shot on the edge of the box, and I'd go for him and Sunich. I would in a 4-4-2 if it was up to me. Is there any chance of us getting Djukovic back before the end of the season? I'm not sure.
That's something else people are talking about. Maybe he
could be back Saturday, but I don't know if he is or not, honestly.
Even if he was only 80%, you know what I mean? He'll still do a job for us when he can go out there. We know for a fact that he gives a damn if we stay up or go down. And how many times has he kept us up over the last few years? You know what I mean? So can he come out and do it one more time for us? Please do, because I'm going to be honest, I don't know if we're going to do without him, Yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah. Gary Nelson says you can still see Gardner's passion for the club after Jay's goal versus Coventry. Ability comes second to that passion for the situation we're in, says Gary Nelson.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And that's exactly what you need on the pitch. You need players who care. We've got Robbo. Gary Rowett really cares about the club, and so does Robbo. So, we've got good people around the squad and that now, but we just need to it's so important that we get the right personnel, isn't it, on the pitch against Huddersfield and Norwich to get these 6 points that are up for grabs.
I think the tough thing is, though, like last Monday we were looking at the Coventry game, and to be fair, that was probably the best performance of the season. You know, and we've gone into Saturday's game with the same team. I'm not saying that Burke's changed everything, but we've gone into the game with the same team. I wonder if that would have made any difference to start with. Maybe not. I still believe that same team can go to Huddersfield and get a result. I think on Saturday, if you look at it, I don't think Rotherham, and again, Rotherham are poor, and they've proved that this year, but I don't think they really had any chance of getting a goal against us this week. No. I think, and then if you take Stansfield's disallowed goal out the way, which we've talked about already, and then you take away the Malashi one in the 93rd minute, which, to be fair, he probably should score, then you walk away with a 1-0 win, and this conversation we're having today is very, very different, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's difficult. It's difficult to say we're going to go to Huddersfield and change the whole team around.
No, yeah.
No.
You know, we want everybody on there to be playing for the badge and a little bit of pride. And I did actually thought they did last week against Cov. Yeah. So I don't know what the reason was this weekend against Rotherham, and I don't know what you do next weekend against Huddersfield. But I do believe that same team can go out there and get 6 points in the next 2 games if that's the way we take them out and they play like they did last Saturday.
The thing is, I'm putting myself, or I'm trying to put myself now in the minds of Jordan James and Bakuna, who have both scored, 5 or 6 goals each this season, probably more, a bit more.
8, I think.
They've done 8 goals then.
8 or 9. 8 or 9.
Yeah, so they've both done their bit this season. They've both scored some good goals, and they could both potentially play where that bowl of salad bloody Burke was.
100%.
They must be on the bench thinking, why the hell is he out there and I'm sitting here? You know what I mean? What does that do for their mentality as well? What do you think when you've worked hard, you've trained all the time, you've stayed fit, you've been available for every game more or less, and then he suddenly comes back from nowhere and gets picked ahead of you?
Yeah.
I'd have been angry if it's been on the bench, but what's he doing? He's just getting his appearance money.
Yeah, no.
He's not.
He didn't have to be anywhere near the blue shirt again this year. And it's not because of his TikToks. Don't get me wrong. Like what we said about his TikToks. TikToks are a disgrace when the position that the team are in right now. We've got to watch that every week. And don't get me wrong. Congratulations, they're having a baby. I think it's great for them. It's their first baby, exciting. But you've also got to look at your job, and there's those moments when you're posting crap like that, which was nothing to do with the baby at that time, is hard. And then you, again, like you said, you see professional footballers sitting on a bench watching him out there doing absolutely nothing for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace, really, and it's a massive mistake from our management team. And I think, like you said, I think they've realised that 45 minutes may be too late, but they did, and they pulled him off, and hopefully we don't. They've tried him now, and we don't see him again.
Yeah.
And those TikToks aren't even funny either.
I wouldn't have.
You're just jealous, Rob, because he's got a friend.
Can I just say, I'm stuck here on the sausage cows. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the reason. I did see a clip after the event, after the game, that said the reason why Sanderson had the armband taken off him was nothing to do with. He didn't say why. Just said it was nothing to do with the club. Again, I put 2 and 2 together, and you've confirmed that. But I got to say, you've got to fill me in on this TikTok, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
No. It's only for us young guns, TikTok, I'm afraid.
It's for kids.
It's not for you,
I know what TikTok is. What is our worst player in history doing on TikTok?
It's with his girlfriend, Alan. His girlfriend likes to post pictures of what food she cooks and stuff, and Mike's involved in all of those different
little dance routines and God knows what else.
My 11-year-old granddaughter does that. Okay, fair enough. I've got it.
Just explain why.
If I'm him and I'm doing that, then I'm going to make damn well sure I'm going to do my job properly, because when I go out there in the public eye, you're in the public eye doing that. You know what I mean? And you're doing stupid things like that. And then you go out and perform like that on a football pitch. You know what I mean? And, you're going to... Maybe if he went out there and scored a hat-trick on Saturday, we'd all be dancing with him. You know what I mean? But he's just not... to be
honest, Paul, he puts more effort into his TikToks than his football.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The thing is as well, when they posted it, it was the day or so after Cardiff. So we're talking about not even being the 3-0 win at Coventry, because I was probably dancing on TikTok on Saturday night after the Coventry game, right? But he's posted it on the Thursday or the Friday after the Wednesday of the Cardiff game, when everybody's all doom and gloom, and you're watching that and going, well, this player's meant to be out injured, and he's dancing around his living room with his missus. That's the difference. Is obviously a lot. Football players are worked on all the time about social medias and stuff. They know exactly how to deal with things, and that's just ridiculous to post it at those times when your club's in the situation they're in.
Anyway, I think he's had enough airtime on air now, hasn't he?
Let's get him on.
So,
Special guest.
And we're all doing a dance afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
Ian Clayton, as a manager, everyone knows Rory doesn't play on the front foot, so Rotherham wasn't going to be easy. Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely. I'll just go through a few comments. Who's going to be our Shay Adams or Paul Caddis this time from Shane Goff? I genuinely don't know, Shane. That's my worry. Help me out, Chris. You got any more?
Yeah, when somebody told me Burke was starting outside the ground, I just laughed and assumed he was joking.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I was with James and Emily from her game too. You know, Emily Drakeley and James Jenkins. Lovely people there, and we was having a lovely chat to them. And it was James who told me that Bert was starting, and I thought he was on a wind-up. I thought he'd had too many points, but he'd actually driven there, and he was going right over. And he was telling me the truth, and I couldn't believe. I just didn't believe him. I was like, "Are you being serious?" And he said, "You haven't been deadly serious." I was like, "Oh my God!" I just couldn't believe it.
Crazy, absolutely.
Yeah.
So fine margins. Miyoshi should have nicked it late on Saturday. Ray Hobro, he should have. He didn't quite get enough contact on the ball, did he? He just needed to get that little bit more power to get it past the keeper before the keeper could get to the ball. So he just
he had time to control it, actually, and he didn't realise. He could just put it on his right foot and smacked it in with his left, but he tried to do a side foot with his right, with the ball coming the wrong way across him, really. But hey, you don't make good decisions when you're struggling. It's. I'm afraid, what was Buchanan doing up there in the way of the goalkeeper? It's you can't fathom it now. Well, what's he doing there? He's a left back. What's he doing? But,
what worries me if we do go down, I mean, remember we went down from the Premier League and that Carling Cup team was just ripped apart completely. It'll be the same, won't it? Half this lot won't be.
I know, Mark, with this team.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah. But the gems we do have, they'll be gone, won't they? Miyoshi and
I must admit, it really opened my eyes. That I think it was on our chat earlier. She put a picture of us staying up at Rotherham 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When you look at that team and compare it to this team, there's arguably probably two players from that team that would get in this team. From this team that would get in that team. So I would probably go Ruddy in goal instead of Camp, and I would go probably Buchanan left back instead of Pedersen. The rest of it, you'd go Morrow and Harley Dean all day long over the centre halves we got now. You can debate about Led or Maxime Colin. We had prime Gary Gardner in the middle, then we Cliftonbald in a 4-4-2, Hotter on the right, and Magoma on the left, and Shea and Duke up front. How many of these players that are playing for us now would get in that team that kept us up at Rotherham 5 years ago?
That's a good question.
Again, another reason why we are where we are, isn't it? Because the recruitment this season has been... It's not been great, has it? No, but then again, you've got so many different managers' players, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know what the crazy thing is, though? Because we've sat here now 45 minutes and it's been pretty doom and gloom. And I get it. I'm doom and gloom myself in regards to where we are. But we've also got to understand, like I said earlier in the conversation, we got 4 points from 2 games. We haven't lost. We haven't conceded a goal. So we're going into these 2 games now at the end of the season, knowing what we need to do. And 6 points might not be enough, but we've got to go and try and get that. Yeah. But at least we're going into it with an unbeaten run and not conceding goals instead of going in a couple of weeks ago when we've just lost 3 or 4-0 and going, we're leaking goals for fun. We're embarrassing. We're this and that. I think if I'd have sat there after the Cardiff game and said, I'm going to get 4 points from Coventry and Rotherham, I'd have taken it. I would have flipped it and said a point against Coventry and 3 against Rotherham if I was thinking about it, but I'd taken 4 points.
Do we think
the thing is to go into Huddersfield and we've got to take the 3 if we can, but 1 point wouldn't be bad if we get a better result than Wednesday at this time as we speak. Because if Wednesday was lose to Albion and we got a draw at Huddersfield, we'd still be 2 points ahead of Huddersfield and would be on top of Wednesday on goal average. So we're going into the last game on top of those teams and in 4th from bottom and not 3, which always looks better going into a game. So, it's a must not lose game against Huddersfield. And then it's just an eye on Plymouth, an eye on Blackburn, an eye on Sheffield to see what their results are. Because this Saturday it could be we're out of the bottom 3 and got a bit of an advantage. It could be the same as where we are now, or it could even be that we're relegated after 5 o'clock on Saturday night. You know, it all can happen this weekend. So I think we've got to go in there, and all we can do is fight for the 3 points. I think at this stage, Huddersfield's going for it as well. We can't go out there with the fear of losing. We've got to go out there of making them fear that they're going to lose, and we're on the front foot from the start, like we were against Coventry.
I was going to say, I might beat me to it then. I was going to say, do you reckon less than a win and it's curtains? Do you reckon we've got a point Saturday?
It all depends on the other teams, Mark, doesn't it? It all depends on the other team, because that goal difference to us is like another point. And if we can finish on the same points as the team in 21st. It's 21st, isn't it? 22nd, 23rd. Yeah, if we can finish on the same points as the team in 21st, then we survive, don't we, on goal difference?
Yeah. Good question here from Bunny in the Box. He says, we haven't won away since New Year's Day. After watching Rotherham, what do you think is going to be different?
Well, hopefully we can score, because we've got Rowett and Robbo there now with Ashley Cole, and the three of them were, obviously Ashley Cole was a world-class defender, but Robbo and Rowett were both bloody good defenders as well, and they've assured us up. They've assured us up defensively. I'll say that. We stopped the Rock leading silly goals and making silly mistakes, but maybe we need a James Beattie or a Kevin Phillips on the training field with them as well to show them where the goal is. But again, we didn't need that against Coventry, did we? It's just one of those things where we just couldn't get the breakthrough, and I thought we had. I thought we had with Jay Stansfield, but it just wasn't to be.
Yeah, looking at the Huddersfield game against Swansea, Huddersfield were awful. Their defence was dreadful.
Yeah.
And then the following day, you're looking at Sheffield Wednesday, and their first and last goals. You got to say to yourself, what on earth's going on here? The goalkeeper gives the ball to the bloke in the first one, and he loves, he has a hopeful punt at the goal, and it goes in. And the third one, I mean, goodness me. And I'll just remind people who are listening to this programme, I had lots of emails suggesting that we should go for the Blackburn goalkeeper, because he was a young goalkeeper, etc., etc., etc. And then you see him do that. So again, football's football, and my heart just sank. And I thought, at least if you're going to beat us with a bit of grace and style. That was shocking. I mean, to be fair, the second goal was excellent, but the first and the last. I
actually thought the first goal was probably the championship goal of the season. Honestly, I think his technique. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, the keeper gave him the ball, but I think his technique to get it over the goalie and into the goal from where he was unreal.
Agreed. But we had one against us the week before, and what happened? It hit the crossbar and went over. It was a 50-50. It was a roll of the dice, basically. Yeah. Yes, it was very skillful, but so was the one against Coventry. Very clever, but it didn't go in.
Yeah. Right. I've got to say though, what a dreadful record Eustace has actually got at Blackburn. Was it like 2 wins out of 15?
Yeah,
it's dreadful. I know. I thought they'd pull away a little bit, but he's doing a terrible job. She's got to be said.
Yeah. He's emulating.
But they beat Leeds.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We beat Coventry.
I must have been at 3-0 yesterday at Wembley. I'm thinking, we had a bad side after all, because we beat Coventry 3-0, so we must be decent. And then it gets to 3-0, and I thought, we'll be European champions in 2 years. I mean, it was so. I mean, do I feel sorry for him? Do I help? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't like Manchester United and I don't like Coventry, but it was a great game to watch and I enjoyed it. And whoever was going to lose, I was going to smile, so I don't care.
Everyone. It was a win-win, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Lilypad, sick of relying on other teams to keep us up. I'm with you there, Lilypad, 100%. I'm sick to death myself of cheering other teams on like an absolute muppet on a Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean? There in my house watching Sheffield Wednesday and Blackburn, and it's just. I mean, I switched it over in the end when they went like 3-1 up. I just flicked it over and put the other game on. You know what I mean? I think it was Everton and who did Everton?
Forest. Everton and Forest.
Everton, Forest. Yeah. Benji Smith. I was excited about Pritchard and where the bloody hell is he when you need him? I forgot about him.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
BCFC Ireland says, would you try Dixon instead of Hogan on the bench? Got nothing to lose.
I think it's too late in the day to blitz or bring him in now.
I think so.
Is it fair on him just to throw him into a dogfight like this now for his debut?
And no manager's picked him yet. You know, he's not obviously not ready.
No, but yeah. So it's hard to say. No, are we going to stay up? You ask people, are we going to stay up? People keep saying to me, do you reckon we'll stay up? And the answer is, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just so hard to predict it now, isn't it? Because it all depends on teams again now as well. But we need the Baggies to do us a favour. And are they really going to want to do that, do you think?
Well, they're still in the running for. They still need the points for playoffs. They can't go on the beach, can they?
No.
Oh, no, they still need to get a result. And I think we just, without having to rely on everybody else, we've got to do our job first.
100%, Mark. Yeah.
The biggest thing for us is that I hope that in 2 weeks' time we sit there and go, all this stressing was for nothing. It's really hard. You sit on the fence a little bit because 50% of me says we're going to be relegated. 50% of me still has hope about grabbing a couple of results because we have done in the past, and we have been that type of team that gets results, sneaks results in when we don't feel like we're going to. But yeah, I think it's tough. I don't want to sound doom and gloom, and I'm sure the viewers don't want to hear us being doom and gloom the whole time, regardless if they agree with us or not. I think it's I honestly believe that if our team plays to their potential and then gives their heart and stuff that they did a week ago, then we have a good chance of winning those games. I think if we go out and underperform like we have done this season in times, then we deserve to be out of it.
Yeah. Now, one of the best memories for me as a Blues fan was, I'll say best memories. It wasn't one of the best memories, but it was a good memory. It was when we played Liverpool in 1995, and we took them to a obviously we held them to a 0-0 at St Andrews, and we took them back to Anfield.
Yeah, that's right.
In a replay, which after the announcement last week would not happen now because they've scrapped FA Cup replays. What do we all think about that? I do think though, from there's another part of me though that thinks that we would have had more chance of beating Liverpool, and I know we were unlucky on penalties at Anfield in the end. But do you not think we'd have had more chance of beating them if we'd have just held them at home to a 0-0 all the way up to, say, extra time? Would we have had more chance of beating them at St Andrews than we had at Anfield? Do you know what I mean? I know from a money point of view, you can make more money by going to Anfield as a club, but to get to the next round, do you think we'd have had more chance of beating them at Anfield at St Andrews, by going to extra time and penalties than what we did at Anfield? I don't know. It's kind of like a catch-22. What's everyone's thoughts on it?
We should have done, but if you remember, we took 4 penalties and missed all 4.
Missed them all, yeah.
We did.
So it don't matter where you are if you do that. But I agree with you, Paul, about what a great memory that was. It was a great night, and you're proud of your team, you're proud of your club, you're proud of the city, etc., etc., etc. And you're right, it would never have happened now. And
no.
I don't remember being very excited about the 0-0 draw at home. I was probably a bit disappointed, but the replay was terrific. It was a terrific football match. We played well. They played well. They scored a very fluky goal, which hit the post and hit Bennett on the head. You go to Liverpool, that's the sort of garbage that you get treated to.
Mm-hmm.
But we matched them, and you're right that you'd never have had that memory. And I go back to the 60s when we went off to where do we go? Arsenal, and equalised in the last minute. Jeff Bowden header, and we came back 50-odd thousand at St Andrews. Barry Bridges goes mental, scores 2 wonder goals, and we beat them. And then the following year we went to Sheffield Wednesday. It was top 3 in the first division at the time. Got a 1-1 there, smashed them at home, and it was routine. We didn't care about being drawn away because the best, at least we'll bring them back to St Andrews and then we'll sort them out, no matter who it was. that was part of the cup runs that, sometimes you'd have 2 or 3 replays and you get knocked out in the 5th round and you'd think you'd had a money run. Well, we played 6 cup games this year. The team that won it's only played 5.
I think the issue is this, Paul. I think it shows from the traditional FA Cup, which we've all grown up with, and is for me still the best cup competition in the world. They're only caring about now the big teams. They've done this because of the extra Champions League and Europa League games. It's going to kill off the small teams because the magic of the FA Cup is about those small teams. And if you're a non-league team getting drawn at home to Liverpool and you get a draw and you go back to Anfield, that's what it's about. It's about the money. It's about the atmosphere. It's about everything that goes around it. And they're taking that away from the smaller teams. Same with us. Like we would, I'd love to get a replay and go to the Emirates or something like that and play Arsenal or whatever else. But I'm also, I'm pretty cut on it a little bit because I enjoy extra time and penalties as well. I think it brings the whole, if it's a good game, I think it brings the whole atmosphere up. Yeah. So, they can argue the fact that every game going to extra time and penalties to decide who the winner is also an exciting way. I just think it really hits hard on the lower league teams and gives an advantage to those Premier League teams. And now one thing they could maybe do is if for instance, you get a Liverpool against a non-league team at a non-league ground, is that something you could move to a neutral stadium, or is that something that they just get the full percentage of the gate and the TV money and the Premier League teams don't take that?
Yeah, this is what Steve Portman said here. Like, neutral ground should also be a thing of if no replays. If there's no replays, then. But I mean, how about this for an idea? Why not have scrap the 2-legged semi-finals in the League Cup and just have one game at Wembley, like they do in the FA Cup, and have the semi-final as well as the final for the League Cup. I never agree with the FA Cup semi-finals being at Wembley, by the way, but they're doing it, and they're doing it to make more money. So why not put the semi-finals of the League Cup at Wembley as well and have it as one game, and then just scrap extra time and go straight to penalties in FA Cup replays?
Yeah, you could have the semi-finals, one at Old Trafford and one at Tottenham, and you'd still make the same amount. You don't even have to think about Wembley. I agree. It's always been I can remember when Spurs and Arsenal played in a semi-final, and it went to a third game.
Yeah,
and normally that would have gone to and they in the end they tossed up and they played at Highbury. Yeah. And you think, that's naff. That's not fair.
To be honest, Al, sorry. I mean, you talk about the League Cup, and I've got good memories. We all love it, but I know in France they've scrapped it, haven't they? That's over here. They got, they could turn around and scrap the League Cup one day.
Yeah, you've frozen a bit there, Mark.
Yeah.
I think it's your dodgy Coventry Wi-Fi, mate.
Send him off.
He's done, isn't he?
He's gone, isn't he?
Oh,
yeah. Bill Mint, do people realise every...
Oh, yeah.
Never mind.
Bill Mint, do people realise every club has to apply to enter cup competitions? Why don't the Big Six not enter the FA Cup or League Cup so they can constrain on Europe? Oh, that'd just kill it, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, crikey, yeah. Didn't Man United do that a few seasons ago?
No, he did it a few years ago, yeah. They didn't go to the FA Cup, they went to that European Super League or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I have to laugh at them jumping around like they've won something yesterday as well when they get to the final again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couldn't give a monkeys about it 24 years ago, could they, when they went to the Club World Cup instead?
Yeah. Now look at them.
I know.
I mean, on paper, they should get demolished by Man City, but stranger things have happened, hasn't it?
It'll be what it'll be, but yeah, I mean, I think the general vote then and vibe I'm getting is that nobody really agrees with scrapping the replays, do they?
Nah. I think it says a lot when all the opinions from the ex-players as well, they're all saying the same thing. It has to stay. It's tradition, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why did they even bother bringing out this stupid Europa Conference League as well? I mean, I hope they ain't going to claim that as a major trophy if they win it. It's like the Papa John's Trophy of Europe, isn't it?
We claim it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah,
Well,
we won.
if they claim that up the road as a major trophy, then we've won 3 in my lifetime. Then because we won the Leyland Daft Cup and the
twin screens.
They are major. They are major trophies.
Sorry, Al. Carry on, mate.
I forget. But yeah, that's a good point. That is. I mean, that's this is Mickey Mouse. That's Mickey Mouse. Well, why have more Mickey Mouse competitions when you've got the best competition in the world? And
it is.
Let's be honest. I know they'll be swinging from the chandeliers if they win it, and they probably will. Yeah. Would they not prefer to have 3 or 4 cup ties against, a 6-round cup tie against, let's say, us, right? And go and take it to 2 replays and take it to a neutral ground, and perhaps even another neutral ground. I can remember when Arsenal had to play about 4 replays, finished up playing at Coventry 2 nights after they played the previous match. And everybody loved it. It was on the telly. God, we got Arsenal. I can't remember who they played. Arsenal and somebody else. We saw them 4 times, and their fans would rather be playing there than some place behind the Iron Curtain that you've never heard of. It don't make any sense to me.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if Claire's singing here or talking, but she's typed "We're on our way." I don't know if she's going "We're on our way."
I don't know where we're gonna go.
She's probably drunk anyway by now.
Yeah. Lily Pad asked me a question. Where's it gone? So
I was gonna say, what you mean?
About Eustace.
She was asking me what I thought if John Eustace would have seen out the whole season and not got sacked. Where would we be now? I think, and my honest answer to that is, I think we'd probably be about 17th again.
Same sort of season as before. Yeah.
But I think we'd have been better than that. But I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'd bite your arm
last season, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Where do you reckon we'd be, Al?
Depends halfway in it. 12, 13, 14, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, can you hear Craig? And
oh no, here they are.
Sounds like they're from domestic.
Right.
We're about to be joined by.
We're back.
Oh, we can't see ya.
We're about to be joined by.
I'm trying to fix the camera.
Oh, for God's sake!
Keep it off. Keep it off.
Utter professionals, eh?
It's not listening to George and Mildred.
Hey, the new
We're in the room.
And so it's good night for me. And
it's a good night for Craig Courtney.
Who's Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
No.
Where have you, Kev, been?
And I've been in the pub with Sanderson, so sorry we couldn't join.
Good evening to the new Tim Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain of the Tilton Talk Show.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh,
You all right?
I was going to say,
Phil, you're good.
Turn your camera around if you can. Turn your camera. There we go. Yeah, a lot uglier.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, give us some
So
explanations.
apart from the fact that we know that everybody loves us and they've been asking where we are, what have we missed?
Not one single person has said where's up until about 5 minutes ago.
I've got proof. They're saying I'm on the message board.
Up until 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, Jim Tony's asking, can we have Claire's opinion on Burke's selection, please?
Go on, Claire.
How ridiculous is that? I think I was in shock the fact that we actually changed the winning team. If he was on the bench, I think we all would have understood. But the fact that he went straight into the side was a shock in itself. Surely he can't be choosing him against Huddersfield, and he definitely can't choose him against Norwich. So I think I was as shocked as everybody else. I mean, I did give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, whoever plays for Birmingham City will support, but he was atrocious, wasn't he? His first touch was awful. And I just think it changed the whole dynamic of the team. They didn't want to pass with him. They knew he couldn't do anything. And it's a shame, really. I just think that we just need to move on, not play him, and thank you, Burke, but no thank you. Off to Germany again.
Yeah, 100%.
But apart from that, he loves him.
I can't stand him. Get back on TikTok.
His TikToks are funny, though, aren't they?
No, they're not. I can't. I like making McKenna.
Well, we all know how to cook now, so we've watched that many TikToks, so we know how to do a really decent spaghetti. But apart from that, nothing else.
Claire, you've been the most positive person to talk about him so far. Nobody else has given him that much credit.
My battery just died. No, right here.
Sorry, Alan, what did you say?
I said you've been the most positive about him so far. Nobody else has given him the time of day.
What have you done, Craig?
I don't know what I've done. I've broke the phone.
Oh,
So what? Hold on. We've got a technical issue. Craig can't you? Hold on. You need to go off.
Okay.
You need to get rid of the other one.
Yeah. But yeah, we've gone.
Oh,
As soon as we mentioned Oliver Burke, the connection's gone.
I told him he was playing for them.
Now, Dennis has said, stop giving the twat airtime and ignore the so-and-so.
But Dennis not about me, you know.
I don't know whether who he's talking about.
Craig, I think. It's not about Craig. That's what we're
Craig,
talking
yeah.
off.
I thought it's either Craig or Robe. I don't know. But, he's coming back on now. Hang on.
Yeah, let's move on from him. Absolutely.
Exactly.
But yeah, what do we need to do then on Saturday? I know obviously the obvious answer is hit the back of the net, but what team would we all play on Saturday? Would we just go back to the same team that we beat Coventry with 3-0, or would you make any other changes?
I'll go back to Coventry.
I go to Coventry game.
Because Claire and Craig, I said earlier that I would focus more on putting players on the pitch that actually give a damn if we stay up or go down, you know, that have come through the academy or support the club, the likes of Gardner and JJ, you know, George Hall, people like that who have, you know, who actually care about the club, you know what I mean? What would you
need some blue blood.
Go on, Craig.
I'd agree with the blue blood side of things. We need to have somebody that knows what makes us tick. I think the Jordan James side is quite interesting because I don't understand why he didn't start and why, in fact, he didn't play at all on Saturday. So it's a bit frustrating, but is he the right person and are the youngsters the right people? Again, I don't think the youngsters are quite right for this. I'd love nothing more, and I really hope that it's true, that we get Juki back. I think if he can play 20 minutes and just give us something that's different, something that we can change up for. Because at the moment, we have no plan B. If we had a plan B, we could still at least give it a go with behind. But we've still got to be positive going into it. You know, we've played the games against teams above us and at times made them look stupid. You know, Leicester, we absolutely annihilated them at home. We just about lost out. Coventry, we did so well against Coventry that I know we can do it against these teams that are below us. And I want nothing more than to send Huddersfield down. I don't want us to be in a position at the end of it that we're the ones that, you know, we said it before, we'll meet again some sunny day, right? I don't want that to be them singing that to us. I want to be the other way round. I want to be singing to them. And then come the game against Norwich, I want to be in a situation where we're looking and we're thinking, do you know what? We're okay here. And lightning can't strike twice. So we've had a bad weekend. I think the next two will be all right.
I will play whoever's going to actually want to play. I'm going to play whoever I think has shown the more guts, the more heart, the more passion, the more determination. If they had half the ounce of determination and passion that we had, we would be in the top 6 by now. I just think that we need to show more. I think Saturday we lacked. I think the Stanfield goal was a great goal. It's just a shame Buchanan ran in front of him. I think Miyoshi should have absolutely belted that into the back of the net. I just think that we lack the leadership and the experience for a relegation battle. I think Pate probably had one of his worst games for us. It just worries me that the fact that he thought that Burke was the saviour and the fact that he took Jay off instead of bringing Hogan on. I just think we need to go for it. I mean, they're going to be fighting for their lives and we need to match them. I mean, I don't know whether you've spoken about Coventry, but Coventry is fair play to them. They showed some heart, they showed some pride, they showed some passion. They were against a Premier League team. They went for it, and I just think that we just need to show a little bit more ounce of guts and determination. And we could beat anybody. If we play like we did against Cardiff, if we play like we did against, half of these other teams, West Brom, we've got it in the bag. We just need to show it. And the problem is it's away from home. I mean, 3 wins away from home is awful, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how we fare up on Saturday, and we just need to take our chances when they come, because I'd like to think we'll create quite a few chances against them. Whether it's on their ground or not, really, because they're a very poor team, aren't they? So, Swansea turned them over the weekend. So hopefully, I'll settle for 1-0. Don't get me wrong, but it would be nice just to go there and win 3 or 4, wouldn't it? At least,
Definitely.
I've said this evening that the one thing with them is where they don't ship 1 goal. Once they concede their first, they then downhill with all the others. And look at the weekend, it's exactly that. They ship 1 goal, then they've got to come out, and that leaves them completely open. To lose 4-0, their goal difference, and you've probably mentioned it already, but their goal difference is the equivalent of 3 points for us. So it's a case of, if we can get 1, they've got to then come at us, and that will play into our favour, and I'll still stick by it. When a team attacks us, we're at our best because we've got the players to hit them on the counter. However, on Saturday, they've got to go with an attacking side. We've got to go 4-4-2. We have to start with that intention of, you know what, we're going to score first, and you're then going to have to come at us. Then we can release players in the second half. Dare I say, have a bit of fun if we're up in the game. And the other thing, we can't worry about what's going on around us. Our key is us. It's what we do. We've got to win the game. And that should be the focus of every player.
Yeah, Warren Starling makes a good point. Paul, we are a poor team. It's no good saying that Huddersfield are when we're as bad. Which is true. Really, we're not that much better, are we? Really, at the end of the day, and if we can't go, I thought we'd have a Rotherham. I thought we'd beat Rotherham. 2 or 3. Did you, Claire?
So did we all.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that the table doesn't lie. This side, we should not be here. The amount of weeks that we've gone, this game we should be beating them. This game we should be winning. This game we've got a chance. The fact that the amount of points that we dropped from winning positions and we've drawn them, or the fact that we've dropped points in the last 10 minutes. We should not be in this situation, but we are. And the fact is that we're not, as fans, we haven't made them in this position. I don't even think now you can say the managers have. We've had 6 managers and we're still in this position. It's now down to the players. If the players actually play the way that they can play, we will win on Saturday, like they did against Coventry, like they did against West Brom. When it seems like when we hit the wall, we end up bouncing off it. But we've got 2 games now. If you are going to, I've said it before, if you go down and look at all the teams beforehand, I think I had a time hop earlier. We beat Rotherham 3-1 to stay up. And we all remember the players that helped to stay up, the Cadiz goal, Che and Yuki against Bristol City. You remember those teams. Yeah. They've now got a chance to be that. Now, if they're not going to stay here, fine. That's fine. But you know what? Thank you and goodbye. If you are going to stay here, you're going to be something next season if we stay up. But at the moment, can we see us staying up? I think we're 50-50. At the moment, like against Rotherham, we should have beaten them. They weren't good. We've seen time after time, Cardiff, they weren't good. Watford, they weren't good. Rotherham, they weren't good. But we're down there for a reason because we can't seem to score. We either score loads or we don't score any. We're a hit and miss team.
Yeah. I touched on that earlier, Claire, about your message about the team 5 years ago, and I asked the question, how many of these players that we got now would get in that team 5 years ago, and there aren't many. We're looking.
Not many.
I think there's one.
Stansfield, that's it.
But who are you putting Stansfield in instead, though? Dukovic or Adams?
Yeah. I can't see it, to be honest. I think Burke's probably one of the worst players we've ever had. I think that the thing that some of the subs are sometimes questionable. That's all. But we've got to go in there positive. If we don't go in there positive, we can always go with hope and optimism. And at the end of the day, if we go with hope and optimism, there's only so much we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. And we also mentioned, we also mentioned as well about FA Cup replays being scrapped. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree with it. I think for some clubs, it's their lifeline. I think if you see all these Premier League clubs when they go abroad for their international break and all of this, and they're flying here and they're flying there. At the end of the day, like for example, Sutton United, you would never have seen them play Ipswich at home.
No.
You know, like we've had it where we've been in financial trouble and we've had to have a replay. I just think, and the fact that they didn't tell any of the other teams around them isn't good either. I don't agree with it, but that's just me. Maybe when we're in the Champions League, we might need it.
I think I'm the same. When I think about some of the replays that we've had when we were in the lower leagues, you know, the one that stands out for me was Anfield. You know, when we took up, 5,500, 6,000 fans, and we had a party. You know, we didn't go up there expecting a result, but we did well when we were up there. And the FA Cup for me is the number one cup in the world. It's the epitome of what football's all about, and it's being watered down because the big wigs, and that's all it's down to, basically can't be bothered. I mean, for me, rather than taking the replays out, they want to do something drastic and they want to change things about. You know, anybody that draws a Premier League team plays them at the Premier League place, but with a different allocation of fans, or go on a neutral ground, do something different if they want to change it, but not take away the replays, because it's just not fair at all. I mean, the thing is,
Craig, it doesn't need changing, does it?
No.
It doesn't need changing.
It's
There's nothing wrong with it.
Of the Champions League and the structure that UEFA have put into place from next year, the fact that there's different group stages now means that the actual FA Cup overlaps too much with the Champions League. Well, fair play, teams qualify and everything else. But as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't care less about the teams that are in the Champions League. What I want to care about is seeing my club having the opportunity, where needed, to play 2 games. And if we're up against the big boys, and you get those attendances, and you get, I think, was it 20% cut the revenue? You know, that could be the difference in the lifeline between a club surviving or disappearing. Yeah. And this season's proven it. When you look at the teams, you know, and it was the team that went to Coventry and had already beaten a couple of the Sutton United, Maidstone. You know, they've now set themselves up not just for a season, for probably 2, if not 3. And that's all through the extra revenue. With that disappearing now, everybody's just looking and thinking, right, I want a home draw, because that's what it's all about. Should be the other way around.
Let me get your thoughts on one more thing, and then we'll move on. This is stuff we've already covered, but I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it as well. And the last thing I want to ask you about is your opinion on Dion Sanderson.
For me, I mean, we were talking about it tonight. I think if you are a professional athlete and you're drinking on a Thursday night, knowing you are in a relegation battle and you're a captain of a championship football club, maybe there's more to it. And maybe he needs some guidance, and he needs, instead of a lot of flack that I think people will give him, and do you know what? He deserves it, because you're in a relegation battle and you're captain of Birmingham City Football Club. Maybe there's something behind it, especially if it's not his first, it's not his first offence, is it? So I think that there needs to be somebody putting an arm around him at the moment. And I think if he stays with us, because obviously, you don't know what is in his contract. Is there something going on? Because if you've got a massive game and you're turning up drunk and you miss the coach to Rotherham, and you're in the court the next week, I mean, is he going to be able to play on Saturday? Is he going to be in the right frame of mind? All of a sudden we're in a relegation battle and the captaincy's being stripped off somebody because he's been drink driving. It's not a very good thing for the kids, is it? The under-21s and all those around him. So I would drop him personally.
I think his season's finished.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said as well, I think there's more to it than we are necessarily hearing. And I think it's no excuse. He should never have done what he's done. It's the second time, right? But actually, it then puts it into perspective of what are the issues? What's the mitigating reason for him doing what he's doing? Are we in a position where he can't cope? But actually, as a club, we can't do it without him? Because at the moment, can we drop him? I don't know whether we can. He's wrong in what happened. He's got to now face the consequences. But I actually also would say, like I said this evening, I just want him to come out, and if he's playing, he wears the heart on his, his sleeve. He puts that effort in. And am I going to forgive him if he scores the winning goal and keeps us in the division? No. Because ultimately what he's done and what he's been caught for could have had serious repercussions for anybody that's out there. And it goes the same for absolutely anybody, right? You do something stupid like that, you are putting everybody else's lives at risk. But we don't know the backgrounds behind what's caused it and what's triggered it. I don't think we ever will. And if I'm completely honest, I don't want to know. But what I do want to see is just the effort and the passion and the pride that we all expect as fans. So if he's playing, show it. The fans will back him. They won't necessarily like what's happened, but we'll back him. And that's what we need. So, when he's in court, he'll get his repercussions. He will end up, without fail, losing his licence. I think we all know that. But it's a case now of not let bygones be bygones, but focus on what's in front of you at this present moment.
And next time, just get an Uber, because the rest of us have to just get an Uber or taxi, or just don't drink, or get someone else to drive you. I'm not being funny, but I don't condone drink driving, so you need to start using your noggin.
Yeah. There's an app and there's a telephone line. Use them.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Mark Meredith, I'll come to you on this, mate. So Anthony Bailey, unpopular opinion, but I don't get the pay hype. Slows the play up, rarely passes forward, and gives the ball away a lot. That's Anthony Bailey on Paik Sung Ho.
Yeah, the bar. I can't.
I need to go on mute, Craig, for a minute.
Yeah. Put it on mute. Go on, Mark.
No, honestly, as a 6, I like him. I think he steadies the ship a little bit. Wins the ball when he needs to. It depends on what you want from a player, I suppose. I think we probably have, in the way we should set up, I think we have enough attacking threat that him and Sunic can be the type of players that do win the ball and just recycle it and get it and then play off the Maloshes, Stansfields, those type of players. So I think, for me, the position he plays in, I think he does the right things. Obviously, we're all crying out for somebody like Rodrigo, or somebody like who's I can't even think of his name. The Man City boy, the 6.
Rodrigo.
We're all crying out for a Rodri, aren't we? That we can do everything, but we're not in a position to go out and spend millions of pounds on something like that. But I think he recycles the play well. I think he wins the ball when he needs to win the ball. I think that then allows the 10 and who else is playing in those attacking areas to get more of an attacking threat. But everyone's got different opinions, right? And I suppose it's depending on what you're looking for in a player.
Yeah, I said earlier in the show, didn't I? I like him as a player, but I'm not sure if he's what we need right now. That's the only thing, because we need players who are going to get us up the pitch, and we need to score goals and badly as well, and desperately. But Alan, let's get your thoughts, mate. Would you pick the same team on Saturday as well as what we played against Coventry? Would you bring Miyoshi in for Burke, or would you make any other changes?
Well, I wouldn't change it much. I think if I was sitting down and thinking about it, I'd give those guys another chance. Having said that, of course, they've played another game since then and have shown a lot less than they did. So I'd be looking to bring back JJ and possibly even Bacuna. Although Bacuna didn't do much when he came on. JJ didn't even get a chance. But I think I just fall on the side of sticking the same side in again. And I pray that Djukovic is fit enough to at least to get on the bench. So if we need something, you know, we can get 20 minutes out of him and perhaps cause some damage. But again, that's a big negative, because if we need Djuki on with 20 minutes to go, we ain't winning 4-0, are we?
No.
We just throw him on to stretch his legs. That's fine. But if we're desperate, and I don't want us to be desperate, I definitely. I don't know whether I want the same 11 players, but I want the same attitude. Now, whoever created that, well, do it again. You know, whether it was Robbo or Rowett or might even have been Sanderson. Who knows? He might, you know, he's gone off on one, hasn't he? But who knows? But whatever it was, and that's a possibility of why Sanderson was still in the side Saturday, but he didn't produce anything much. We've got to find that from somewhere, and that's the big question mark. Where did that come from, and where can we find it to go again? You know, we know what the players can do. Anderson, I thought, was probably as good as he was the week before. Mayashi didn't get the chance to be as good as he was the week before. And certainly Roberts wasn't anywhere near where he was before. So, you know, if he would be the one that I'd be thinking, do we put Juki in? Do we put Hogan in? Or do we shove Bacuna up alongside in that sort of playing off the front man role? You know, it ain't what I get paid for, mate. To be honest, you've got a bloke that's, you know, it's his decision, and I don't envy him, because if it goes wrong, you know, it's got to be right. It's got to be right, and that comes from the management. It comes from the supporters, and it comes obviously from the players, and it's got to be right. And if all the times that it's been wrong this year, this time it's got to be right, and it's got to be right for 2 weeks.
Absolutely, yeah. Interesting comment from Ray Hobro. JJ and Miyoshi, a dozen plus goals between them over Anderson and Burke. So yeah, that's a fair point, because they've got, you know, over a dozen plus goals between them, and I'll throw Bacuna in that mix as well. You know, he's and he set people when Bacuna takes the corner. So Roble, what do you think, Roble?
I'd love to see a return to the Coventry lineup. To be honest, I'd love to see that 11 again.
Yeah.
It's funny with Miyoshi, because I honestly think, I mean, people might laugh, but I think he'd be more suited to the Premier League, because of the amount of time you get on the ball. It bring the skills out.
We're all saying we go back to the team that beat Coventry, but we're all picking Sanderson after what he's done then.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
From a selfish point of view, probably, yeah. But from a moral viewpoint, I could understand if he never played for the club again. I really do. But it's like we've said. I mean, when it first broke a couple of hours ago about what was going on with him, you were sort of disgusted, and you still are. But it's like Craig said a minute ago. It'd be interesting to hear the factors behind it. Yeah. Well, it is. I don't think it can be dressed up or glossed at all. You can't. No. He broke at the end of the day, he's going to court, and you know he faces possible prison sentence. You know. Yeah.
The thing is, we've got to remember, we've had people at the club, right, that ultimately have committed the same sort of acts. Right? We actually had a player at the club in Jermaine Pennant who was wearing a tag. Marlon King. Yeah. We also look at some of the other players across the footballing world that have had similar sorts of issues. Tony Adams, for example.
They gave Tony Adams an MBE.
Yeah, it's about how they come back, and we'll never, ever, ever condone what happened, and never will. But at the end of the day, if they are turning out for our club and they're wearing our shirts, then we'll support them on the pitch. Doesn't mean that we agree with anything that's happened, and it doesn't mean that we'll ever agree with what's gone on. But I want to see him just turn out, and if he's wearing the shirt and he's starting that game on Saturday, that he then puts in the performance that we all expect as fans.
Well, he's got something to prove now, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, he's going to be given lots of flack. Just go out there, Sanderson, and prove to us that you're a good footballer. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. 100%.
Paul, before we go, I think we need a straight. Are we staying up? Are we going down?
I also want people's predictions as well. But it's difficult.
Press mute, Craig.
God, yeah.
All muted.
God.
It's a difficult one to answer. I said that earlier, but I'm going to think positive and say we're going to stay up.
Okay.
But I'm going to say we're going to do it on goal difference. We're going to be on the same point. I think Huddersfield. I think we'll beat Huddersfield on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it will go down to Norwich. I think the Baggies will beat Sheffield Wednesday as well. But I just think that we'll draw against Norwich probably. And I need to look at the league table properly to get this right. But I've just got a funny feeling it's that goal difference that's going to keep us up.
I think
tell me that's impossible now, ain't you?
No. I was going to say that the team that are in most danger from us is probably Plymouth.
Yeah.
Ironically, they're the only ones that got a better goal difference than us, and it's quite considerably different, but better. But
Andrew Cash, I will owe Mystic Meg. Yeah, I'll let you buy me a pint, mate, if I'm right. My prediction for Saturday: Huddersfield 1, Blues 3. Robe?
I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say 2-1. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 on Saturday. I think we'll scrape up anyway. I mean, I think somebody said on the group page earlier, "Oh, Mark's the only one who thinks we'll stay up." But judging by this, I'm not the only one.
I'm saying it though in more hope than expectation. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So, Alan.
Are
we staying up, and what's your score prediction on Saturday?
2-0 to us.
Yeah.
And down.
I thought you were asleep then, Al.
We're going down. Okay.
Well, it hurts me. I don't like to say it. I don't want to say that.
It's hard to say.
You'll never hear my predictions say we're going to win something 1. Because that's predicting we're going to concede a goal. I always say that we're going to win 2-0 or 1-0, whatever. I can't even bear to say that we might actually concede a goal. I really don't. I really don't. But I'm saying it now because I was so depressed and before the Coventry game. I went there with no expectation, etc., and was so relieved. I'm going to try it again. I expected us to beat Rotherham on Saturday, and we didn't. It's a reverse psychology, if you like.
Yeah, like you said, Alan. Wherever that come from, they need to find it again for the last 2 weeks. But yeah, Mark Meredith. I'm conscious of time now. I know we need to wrap up. But yeah, Mark Meredith.
1-1 Saturday, and I think down. I'm going quicker than Alan. It still hurts as much as Alan's, but
Okay, Claire.
I think we'll win 2-1, and we're staying up. So the boys in Raw Blue, and they're going to fight, and they're going to play, and we're going to do this. Come on.
Claire's been drinking.
Yeah,
I haven't. I'm generally fine. You've just got to sometimes be positive.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 the weekend, and we're going to stay up, and we're going to do it similar to like Claire's just said, really. But look where the badge is. Whenever you wear your top, whenever you've got any of the training gear on, right? Heart's on your badge is on your heart. So you go with it, and we can do it. We've proven it with the other teams above us, and I'll tell you what. I'll give you a prediction now for Norwich as well. We'll beat Norwich. at St Andrews in front of a full house.
Yeah.
We're going to win both games. Got to be positive. If you're not positive, then we'll never go anywhere. So got to be positive. It's the hope that kills us.
Can I just say I was one of the few who got it right against Rotherham, and you all mocked me. You mocked me, all of you.
Oh yeah, you did. You said 0-0.
I'm coming to you next, Chris. But Craig, you can get the round in now. Go and buy Claire a drink.
I think Huddersfield's going to be the game in it. I think a full house against Norwich. I think we'll do it. I think the crowd will just roar us along. It's Huddersfield that's going to be the one, I think. And you know,
and it won't be the first time we've relegated Huddersfield. Remember we beat them 2-1 on the last day, and nobody actually realised that we'd relegated them until the whistle blew. The results came through and they were down. They were pretty pissed off about that, I'll tell you. But
very nasty.
I can't see us losing against Huddersfield, but
no,
I think we're going down.
Do you? What do you think the score is at Huddersfield then?
Crikey, I don't want to say 0-0 again. Jinx it. 0-0.
Okay. Okay, so on that note then, we've been the Tilton Talk Show. Thanks to everyone for watching. And let's hope and pray that we can get this result on Saturday. And any players watching and any staff watching, just go out there and give it everything you've got. That's all I want to say. Please go out there, give it your all, and bring them 3 points back to the Midlands, please, on Saturday. Good night to everyone. Sponsored by Small Affordable Cars. Keep right on and keep the faith.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night.
7 minutes of our time tonight.
Good night from the cricketers.
Good night for the cricketers' arm.
Who let them pair of drugs on anyway?
Rose, we met your friend tonight, mate.
Hey?
We met a friend for you.
Oh, who is it?
Well, we don't know. They took him away in a straitjacket.
We've had a lovely night. It's been black.
What, you're in a prime position to get me some friends. You just and my
There isn't anyone else in here. They've all gone.
No, maybe not.
And we had the beers bought. That's the best part.
Oh.
There's been teetotal.
Of course.
Nice.
Can't believe that.
Come on, you Blues. Let's go.
Come on, you Blues. Come on, Blues.
Oh, what a guy. Look, Jeff.
We haven't done it for a while, so good night, John Boy.
Get out there, Molly Bob.
I'm more like Ollie Burke.
I'm driving Burke home. See you later.
Oh, speaking of Burks, good night, Ro.
Good night, everyone.
I didn't do the usual outro, did I? It's good night from me and good night from him because we were 7 minutes over, weren't we?
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, it's because we turned up.
Yeah, it's because we turned up late.
Good night from me, and it's a good night from the Mr. 50-50.
Which one?
Are we still on?
There's only one evil 50-50 out there.
You're right, so good night, Paul.
Don't put this on me.
I've done it now. We're off.